Good afternoon. Today is May the 7th, 2025. Welcome to the Queen Anne's County Board of Education. Please join us for the Pledge Allegiance. Completely lost it.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Can I get a motion to move into open session?
Can I
Resume open session.
make a motion to resume open session?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Pursuant to the general provisions, Article 3-305 and 3-104, the Board of Education of Queen Anne's County met in a closed session to discuss the appointment, employment, assignment, promotion, discipline, demotion, compensation, removal, resignation, or performance evaluation of appointees, employees, or officials over whom this public body has jurisdiction. Any other personnel matter that affects one or more specific individuals, to consult with counsel to obtain legal advice, and to conduct collective bargaining negotiations or consider matters that relate to negotiations.
As we move forward, tonight's agenda, there are two edits. One being a removal of an item and one being an addition of an item. The removal would be, I gotta remember where it is. Ooh, I didn't even see it.
Where did we go?
2.04, yes, thank you. Removal of item 2.04 and the addition of item 7.03.
I make a motion to amend the agenda for the board's consideration of the ethics findings resolution and to move it to add it to action item 7.03.
I second that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Can I get a motion to approve the minutes for the April 2nd open and closed sessions?
Sorry, for 1 second, we need to approve the agenda as amended, I think, unless I missed that part, I'm sorry.
You just did?
She did,
Hmm?
or she made a motion to add, and then you need to make a motion to approve the agenda.
You did?
Okay, all right, just making sure.
No worries.
I thought she made a motion to.
You approve the amendment of the agenda. Now you have to approve it as amended. Yeah.
Okay. So just do it again.
All right. Can I get approval to, can I get a motion to approve the amended agenda?
I make a motion to approve the amended agenda.
I second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. Now, one more motion to approve the minutes from April 2nd, open and close.
I make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve the April 2nd, 2025 closed and open session minutes.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Now the fun part, awards.
Good evening, everyone. This evening, we have several awards, a couple of additional awards than we're used to. So I'd like to start off by inviting up our English Language Arts Supervisor, Mrs. Passon. We'd like to address the Writing Awards for the spring of 2025. Tonight, we celebrate 3 Queen Anne's County Public School students who recently won awards for their outstanding creative writing. The State of Maryland's Literacy Association hosts an annual Young Authors Contest. Queen Anne's County Public School has 2 state-level winners of that contest. The first one I'd like to have join us up here is Mattapique Middle School student Nora Tate. Maybe she's not here. Well, Nora did an amazing job of getting first place in the grade 6 short story category. Her short story, The Solace of Night, shares a tale of learning to live alongside of grief and loss. The second winner was Audrey Whitehair. Audrey is a student of Queen Anne's County High School, captivated judges with her reflective free verse poem, Misinterpreted Luck. The piece's beautifully composed, imaginary, and thought-provoking sentiments earned her a first place in grade 11 poetry. So congratulations. Thank you.
All right, on three. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Congratulations.
Additionally, Queen Anne's County High School proudly celebrates William Wyatt Arnold, a 2025 National Scholastic Art and Writing Award winner. If Wyatt would please come forward. Wyatt received a prestigious national silver medal in flash fiction for shouting into a deaf ear. Tale of one man's quest to fulfill his lifelong dream of running a radio station. Regionally, Wyatt also earned 5 silver keys and 1 gold key for his outstanding work in flash fiction and short story writing. With his gold key submission advances him to the national award consideration. So congratulations and good luck to you.
I already won the national.
I only won the national. So to update, he's won the national, so congratulations. Wow. Congratulations.
Not that one. Okay, just want to make sure I got it. And Miss Capes, I can't see you. There you go. On 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Congratulations. Hold up. Sure, thanks.
Okay, so now onto our normal good times for our recognitions, starting with we always do with the Energizer Bunny. So this award is given to the staff member or volunteer who keeps on going. It's sponsored by Bayview Financial with Mr. Tripp Biddingham and Mr. Wayne Humphreys. If they'll please come forward with their Energizer Bunny. We always thank them for their partnership. They're wonderful. And the nominating team this time is Queen Anne's County High School admin team. So if they'll all come forward. And this month's Energizer Bunny goes to Mr. Bob Willis. Mr. Willis will, if you come forward. Mr. Willis will be retiring this year after an incredible 39 plus years in education. He has been an essential part of our school community, and we truly can't imagine Queen Anne's County High School without him. Beyond serving as the school counselor, department chair, Mr. Willis is also the advisor for the Interact Club, a mentor, a father-like figure to many of the students, a leader, and a truly remarkable human being who will be deeply missed. His passion, energy, and commitment to students never faded. He truly never stops. We are forever grateful for his time, love, and dedication he poured into ensuring that every student found success beyond high school. So thank you so much.
Perfect. All right. Mr. Dreyer, you're hiding back there. There we go. Thank you. On 3. Ready? 1, 2, 3.
Thank you, gentlemen. Our next award is the Spirit Award. This award is given to an individual who embodies the spirit of Queen Anne's County Public Schools, nominated again by the Queen Anne's County High School administrative team. So if they hang out up here. And this month's Spirit Award goes to Mr. Ronald Frederick, if he'd please come forward. Wow, that's so cool. So last year, for the first time in school history at Queen Anne's County High School, a student competed in the Skills USA Regional Carpentry Competition. This year, under Mr. Frederick's leadership and passion, we not only had a student return to regionals, but also advanced to the state competition. Mr. Frederick's carpentry program is among the best in the state, offering students hands-on, real-world experiences by building projects like sheds, duck blinds, chairs, benches, and chicken coops. And the list continues to grow. His dedication continues to shine through in both his teaching and his accomplishments of his students. We can't wait to see what next year will be for Mr. Frederick and his outstanding program. Congratulations.
If you don't mind, that Mr. Frederick also was Maryland Skills USA Advisor of the Year. And so the state wanted to give this
Scoot in. Okay. On three, ready, 1, 2, 3.
If I could have Mrs. Passon return for the Shining Star Awards. So tonight, actually, Mrs. Passon, our ELA supervisor, will be requesting that the board allow for a 30-day read of a new middle school English language arts program. In order to ensure we selected the best possible program for our students and our teachers, we needed teachers to pilot these products. So in the fall of 2024, middle school teachers were surveyed to determine who would be willing to pilot 2 products during their English language arts classes for the school year, and 14 teachers rose to the occasion. Over the course of the past 6 months, each of these teachers has implemented 2 potential programs. They attended training sessions to learn about the program and implemented them within their current student roster in order to determine the efficacy of each of these products. Later tonight, we will provide you with the final decision. However, at this moment, we'd like to recognize these 14 dedicated teachers who are truly shining stars. They individually and collectively shine a bright light that is leading Queen Anne's County Public Schools to improving literacy for all of our middle school students. So not everyone is here tonight, so I'd like for all of them to come up that are here. So first up is Coral Adams. And Betsy King. Yes, please stay. And Tammy Riley Wilson. And Heather Souls. And Jacqueline Toomey. And Nicole Zimmerman. And Nancy Marie Lafferty.
Okay. On 3, ready, 1, 2, 3.
And just to recognize those teachers that also participated but weren't able to be with us this evening, that would include Dana Fellows, Marie Higginboth, I probably said that wrong, I'm sorry, Julie Kimball, Stephanie Miles, Patty Muller, Elise Steinheis, and Laura Winnie. So thank you to all of those teachers as well for their dedication and help with this.
It looks like none of the live feeds are working. You want to take a break? Right. We're gonna take a 5-minute break because our live feeds are not working, so for those of you that are staying, you get a little break. Thank you. Welcome back. We have there is a MABE and BOLT presentation. Gentlemen.
Good evening. If I may please introduce
Thank you.
President Bent, at the request of the board, who wanted and sought additional information about our healthcare programs, our healthcare cost, and the marathon program. We bring before you tonight Stuart Sutley and Mark Lynn, who represent Queen Anne's County with Bolton and our healthcare programs, to provide the board with the information that they requested and hopefully to respond to any additional questions or follow-ups that the board may have. I want to thank both Mark and Stuart for attending tonight to provide the board with this information per their request. So thank you, gentlemen, very much. The floor is yours.
Great. Thank you, Dr. Knoll. Thank you, everybody, for the time. We've broken this into kind of two portions. One, my colleague Mark will give a little bit of history and background on ESMEC, which is the combined group of 6 schools in one county that work together with their healthcare purchasing. And then I will give some overview on the health center and the success that we're seeing with the health center to date, and then open it up to questions. Mark?
So I actually helped, what I like to say to the ESMAC group is I helped birth this baby. So 30 years ago, the school systems, and at that time I think it was 2 county governments, got together and formed the first public sector purchasing coalition for healthcare in Maryland. And the main reason was, you know, you're the largest one in that group, but even Queen Anne's Schools is only about 20% of that whole group. So it's Kent, Queen Anne's, Caroline, Talbot, Dorchester, Somerset schools. So as a much larger group, you have better purchasing power and more leverage in the insurance market. The ESMEC group is governed by a board of trustees, and those trustees make the decisions about what the benefits are and how the plan is funded, not an insurance company. And that's because you're self-insured. So, and that really is the most efficient way to purchase health care. Only 2.9% of the total costs are what I'll call overhead. That's what's paid to Care First to administer the plan. The rest goes for paying benefits. So a little bit of administrative costs, the rest is for claims paid on behalf of your employees, retirees, and their dependents. You do have some risk protection, which is something called specific stop-loss reinsurance. So any person who has claims in 1 year of over $250,000, Care First picks up the difference. And you might be surprised how many times that happens. Or maybe you wouldn't. One of the things that we do to make sure that costs are always as low as they can be is we do a bid. We bid the whole ESMEC program every couple of years, and we last bid it in 2023. And we got some very good results with that. You simply couldn't get the kind of pricing you get through this consortium on your own. The low admin fee, there are no carrier risk charges, and one of the things that's most important is we get very competitive pricing on prescription. You probably hear a lot about how prescription costs are rising significantly. One of the other things, and I didn't have it in here, but I thought of it yesterday, is one of the other things we got when we put it out to bid is that we got credits from Care First to cover all of the costs of the benefit administration platform. And if you know Teresa Steinheis, she will say that she couldn't do her job without that. It allows her a lot a lot more flexibility in her time. It allows her to communicate online with insurance carriers, because you have different carriers with enrollments. There's support that's provided by our team at open enrollment. All of those things are covered through credits from Care First, and they used to be paid out of the healthcare trust and out of your funds in the trust. You also have a very unique funding arrangement. So even though you're self-insured, which basically means you're paying your own way for claims, you pay rates throughout the year to Care First, so it's easy to budget ahead of time. But there's a settlement each year, a true-up, where you look at what was paid in versus the actual costs, and if there are refunds, that money gets put back into your account in the ESMEC trust. And so that happened for many years in a row, and you actually built up some pretty healthy reserves, and you use those reserves to subsidize the rates that are paid in a subsequent year. You actually used over $5 million of reserve money to do that, and that's something you wouldn't have been able to do if you were on your own. You also were able to use about $1.5 million of that reserve money to cover basically the first year, I guess it was, of the Marathon Health Center. The annualized rate increases over the last 10 years have been 3.2%, which is very low. And that, again, that's partly, it's a lot because of this trust you're in and the pricing that we're able to negotiate on behalf of the whole trust. And the last thing I'll mention is one of the reasons that's low is we worked some years ago to have your Medicare retirees, and you subsidize the cost of that to some extent. We got a very good program for them through a company called what's now Retiree First that provides some very good support to the Medicare retirees, and the prices are very competitive with that. So I just wanted to give you some background on that, and really to sort of give you some comfort that you are in the best place you can be in terms of your health insurance. Stuart?
Any questions on the background of ESMEC before we talk specifically about the health center? Great. So a little background on this health center concept. So I think we all have seen over the years that it's harder and harder to find access to primary care. We see it, we read about it. We know that, kind of across the state of Maryland, statistically, the average wait time to get in to see a primary care physician is 6 to 7 weeks. Maryland just got ranked as the 49th out of 50th state with the longest emergency room visits in the country. The average is 13 hours for a wait. And a lot of that is due to the fact that we're having a larger challenge in this state with access to primary care. And so people make a choice, and a lot of times that choice is to go to the emergency room or just avoid care. So as we saw this primary care challenge developing, in 2021, we did a 10-year look back on the ESMEC group's use of primary care. And we saw for a decade a pretty precipitous drop in utilization of primary care. At the same time, we saw increases in emergency room use and urgent care use. And so that kind of painted the picture that we're having, again, access problems. So in the first quarter of 2022, we were asked to present the health center concept to the ESMEC consortium. This is a topic that's near and dear to my heart. I used to run the health center business at Johns Hopkins for the employer market before I came to Bolton, and have seen the value of it. And so based on the positive response to the concept, we went out to bid to the market, there's about 5 players really that have national coverage for health centers. And at the time, we selected Marathon Health, and we'll get into that a little more in this presentation. And the goal when we set up the parameters around this with not only the contract, but some performance guarantees that are in the contract, is that really if we could get the health center to a 35% utilization rate kind of with all eligibles, we would see a break even. And we're getting close. So we're at close to 31% now with Queen Anne's County Public Schools. The county is higher. They have kind of reached that number, but that's really the target that we're shooting for, and we're getting there. So one of the things that we've seen with these health centers is, yes, the goal is that they help manage future healthcare spend, but they've also proven to be beneficial for recruiting and retention efforts, reduce sick days, and really kind of build loyalty. And so as part of this, not only with recruiting and retention, but the fact that these health centers, we believe, bring some specific resources to school districts, such as the mental health support. We took this idea and we actually worked with Dr. Salins and quite a few other school districts in Maryland and worked to receive funding from the Maryland Leads Grant a couple years ago. That was, I guess, monies that came through during COVID. And there was an opportunity to put a grant together around recruiting and retention efforts for teachers, faculty, and staff. And so we helped write that, and we also helped get the preferred vendor, Marathon, selected by the Maryland State Department of Education as a preferred vendor. And so that allowed us to get approximately $900,000 to go towards the build out of the health center and the startup costs. And just as an aside, because of the interest that started to happen within the state, the comptroller for Maryland, she asked to come see the health center, and she actually came and visited in December of '23. And she has been a big proponent of it. And as you'll see in a couple moments, there's a lot more of these health centers now out there. I did want to just give a quick background that Marathon, who is the vendor, they're national. They have about 750, 760 health centers, but their real strength is in the public sector. They have a lot of education and government clients. The other vendors out there, although they may be large, they have more financial services, more technology. So we feel very confident with the capabilities of this vendor because of their national presence serving education and government partners. And although this, I'm not going to read this, I know there's a lot here, but we just wanted to show the depth of all the services. So there's not only primary and preventative care, your members can get lab services, they can get generic medications right there. It's such a great convenience to be able to go in and get everything done at one place. There's also other types of testing, diagnostic testing, mental health, immunizations. I think we're already working on building out the schedule for doing flu shot campaigns at all the different schools, for example, because the clinical staff can go out and do those types of things, and that's a big plus. DOT exams for bus drivers, so lots of things, again, that can be captured within the four walls of this health center. So let's talk about a little progress. There has been some really good progress we're seeing in the data, and some of that just to highlight that when members come in and they go through kind of an annual physical, obviously there's biometric data. We all get it. You get your blood draw and you get your cholesterol and glucose. Based on the biometric data, for patients who have had at least 3 visits, 71% of your school's patients are making a health improvement. So those who have gone in and have established this as primary care, we're seeing good improvement. One of the really key things that I think is could prove to be very beneficial is that identified in the data, there are 471 employees who are using the health center. Again, we don't see names or anything like that. These are just stats that have some type of chronic disease. And what's really great about it is 273 of those, or 58% of those, are being managed on a regular basis in the health center. So they're coming in for regular checkups. They're getting their A1C test, for example. That is really significant that we have that high of a portion of the population that is seeing that. And you also have about over a third of dependents with chronic conditions using the health center on a regular basis. From a patient satisfaction, there's the Net Promoter Score. Most of us probably see that. It goes from -100 to +100. Primary care in the United States is somewhere between a 25 to 30 Net Promoter Score. This is specific to surveys filled out by your members, that you've got a 94 Net Promoter Score, which is exceptional, that they're really seeing the value in this and having a good experience. And then in just some cost savings, I'm going to go through this quickly, but we've been able to quantify some of the savings, such as a CPT code, which is a visit code 99215, which is used for chronic patients. That is a code for when you have a visit for over 40 minutes. You've had a lot of those. And so we see that the value of that to the market, because we're redirecting people from the market into this fixed cost health center, just on the number of people that have had that 40-minute visit is about $875,000 that would have been spent out in the market is now being contained or serviced in the health center. So that's really significant. We've seen, again, people who are seeing significant improvements in A1C, blood pressure, and statistically, that leads to avoidance in medical costs, which we've kind of quantified at about $200,000. We've seen new patients coming in. So the nice thing is we're every month seeing more and more new patients. And in the last 3 to 4 months, you've had 241 school district patients who have come in who have risk factors. And because they're now there, they're being managed. And then lastly, these last couple bullet points really have to do with avoidance of using the emergency room, avoidance of using ER visits. This is statistical. So this is on Marathon's book of business. So they know based on about every visit how that equates. So we're using their book of business of several million patients to come up with some of these savings. So I just want to qualify that this is using their book of business. And then lastly, with those who are on your health plan who do have to make visit fees, out-of-pocket fees, based on the numbers that have come in, we estimate that your plan members have saved about $76,000 in out-of-pocket fees. So that's a nice benefit to your faculty and staff. And again, we're getting really close to that utilization point. Just 2 more slides here. This is again, using Marathon's book of business in their education sector, that after about 3 years of a health center operating, that they see the difference between engaged and non-engaged patients, about an $1,800 difference annually in their care. So if we start to extrapolate that over time, that really bodes well for those members who are using the health center. And they also, with school districts in particular, when you get to that kind of 3-year mark, seeing things like an overall 42% lower ER utilization. Again, that's great. We know the challenge is there. We see a 40% reduction in specialist referrals. That is unnecessary referrals. Statistically, in the United States, they estimate that about 50% of all referrals to specialists are unnecessary. And that's primarily due to the short amount of time that I have to spend with you as a primary care physician. If I only have 10 minutes with you, I'm getting you to see some other people because I have to get to the next patient. Because your employees are spending time with these physicians, clinicians, they get a lot of these referrals are not necessary. They can be managed in the 4 walls of the health center. And then lastly, we're very focused on trying to get your members steered in network, not only to the providers in network, but we're actually working on kind of a ranking of the providers through Care First and working to get people to the best providers. So you have, for example, a low compliance with colonoscopies. They're hard to find. The health center has found a relationship with an in-network colonoscopy center that will take patients on a preference basis from the school district. So that is a big win to get your people in and doing things like that. Lastly, it was one of the questions that came up. There are a growing number of health centers. This is just Marathon's health centers with other Maryland schools and counties. Hartford County just signed this week for a health center. There are 2 additional counties and 2 additional school districts in the due diligence contracting phase right now. And as Dr. Salins knows, there's a reciprocity agreement in place so that if I happen to be traveling to the beach and something my kid doesn't feel well, I can pull into the Wycomico County Public School Marathon Center and use that. So that was part of the game plan here too, was building out that reciprocity. And I believe that is it. Questions?
I don't have any.
Great.
And I want to thank Vice President QACPS. I presented to the board, please give me questions, topics, ideas.
It was very helpful.
They did that in a very fast turnaround time. I was able to forward that to Mark and to Stuart, so hopefully they were able to provide most of those. But if there are any follow-up questions at any time, please don't hesitate to reach out. I will forward those on and get you the answers that you so seek.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Appreciate your
much.
time.
Thank you for
Dr.
your time.
Salins, thank you.
Moving on, next item, board involvement. Is anybody, who wants to start? I'm not gonna go at the same spot all the time.
Yep.
Work down. What did I do this month? I did go to the Maryland statewide school leadership training provided by MSDE with Dr. Salins and Kibler. I mainly enjoyed the opportunity to meet so many educators from the county, and the biggest takeaway was how many problems we're going to have implementing the blueprint due to financial constraints. But anyway, it was very educational. I also went to a social with CRW. It was Team 36. So Senator Hershey and Delegate Jacobs gave like a legislative session wrap up. So it was really good. So it covered like everything that happened this year, but also a lot of the frustrations in education and the funding there too. And then I did another leadership training virtual through MABE about building effective governance teams last week. So that's it.
In your legislative meeting.
What's that?
Your legislative meeting?
Oh, yes, my MABE legislative meeting. A lot of track meets. Alexis and I have been hanging out at the PFY track meets. So, but it is great that they do that for the 4 county middle schools, so.
This month has been a busy month, just with 2 little kids. So most of my involvement has been with my children's school. So we went to a field trip to Atkins Arboretum in Ridgely the other day. It was wonderful seeing all the kids outside having fun. Also, too, I want to kind of give a shout out to the teachers this week, with it being Teacher Appreciation Week. I had my daughter's IEP meeting recently, and I just want to commend how well the special education team is at that school, and just how enjoyable it is to be involved with them. I also know that we're helping out with all the teachers and getting their doors decorated, and just seeing all the support from the parents. It's amazing to see. But I was not, unfortunately, able to get out to many school functions as I wanted to. I saw that I missed the art scene, and that was one of my favorite ones every year to go to. So next month.
Well, I was able to get out to art scene, and it was amazing, like usual. I can't believe the talent that these students have. It's
crazy.
amazing. I was able to go to Southerville Middle School with my mom hat on, as to see the strings and then the band and then the chorus concert. And if anybody hasn't gotten a chance, please go out and see Mr. Denby's band and Mrs. Babylon's string, because they are amazing, and you would not believe they're middle schoolers.
Very good. This was a busy month. I spent most of it on the other side of the bridge. Not enough time for activities, but I'll make it up.
Same here, busy. I was actually out of town for 3 weeks over the past month. Just got back this week. But before I left, I was able to actually link up with Dr. Kibler. We did manage to, I saw you there, went to the baseball game at Queen Anne's High School. Nice pitcher's duel going on. And then I walked over and watched a little bit of the softball game. But that's where I got to this month.
I will ask a question because I think it's really awesome. When did we start putting up pictures of seniors for the sporting events? Because I noticed that the baseball field has seniors on the gate or on the back.
Different sports have been doing that for over several years for the seniors that graduate, and they mainly do it for the senior game day, and then sometimes they just leave them up for an extended period of time, but they've been doing it for many, many years.
Do they get to take those home when they're done?
Yes.
That's awesome. All right. To our two student members.
Okay.
Who's going to go first, Ms. Schrader or Ms. Smith?
I agreed to go first this time.
Okay.
So as Mr. Harding and Ms. Parsons told me, and I know this too, May is like the busiest month of the school year. So right now going on at our school as we speak, we have our spring band concert. And then of course, as mentioned, it is Teacher Appreciation Week. And just thank you to the parents and volunteers. And we even have like in the cafeteria during the lunch shifts, students are making like little cards for their teachers to put on their doors. And it's also Children's Mental Health Awareness Week. And then today kicks off the start of playoffs for sports. So from now on, there will be playoffs for all our sports teams. And then on the 9th, we have musical theater class and actor studio performances for all performing arts, starting the 9th. And then next Tuesday, the 13th, we have our chorus concert at our school. And then on the 14th, we have a very special event, the Prom Promise. If you don't know what that is, it's an assembly for all the seniors or juniors or whoever who's attending prom, and they put on this production to ensure that there are safe decisions made on prom night. We sign an agreement that we will be safe on prom night, have safe rides home, all that good stuff. And that's put on by Students Against Destructive Decisions, SAD, that group. And then we had MCAP last week. This week we're finishing up MISA, all the state testing, and we have start of AP testing. There are some today, yesterday, tomorrow, so on. And then on the 17th, very exciting, we have prom at the Kent Island Resort, Kent Manor Inn. That's very exciting. And then Monday the 19th, we have our dance recital for the dancers who take Miss Wright's dance class. And then we just have this whole celebration season. We have nurse pinning, senior award night on the 21st, Project Lead the Way, innovation night for the engineering and biomedical pathways on the 19th. Fire school graduation is the Thursday before Memorial Day. And then of course, senior final exams, the 20th through 22nd, and then a makeup day on the 23rd. So unless you have something to make up, our last day will be the 22nd. And then the 27th is a busy day for our school. We have grad practice, and then our senior picnic. We'll have pizza on like the turf, I think. And then senior stroll, where everyone will drive themselves to their elementary schools that they went to. And we get to walk through in our cap and gowns, so that's really exciting. Really excited for that. And then of course, graduation on the 28th. And yeah, that's this month.
I was going to say, can't be doing much after the 28th.
Yeah, I know.
So we're also doing state NAP testing right now. So long, those tests. May 9th, we have senior signing day at 8 a.m. in the auditorium. May 15th is senior awards night at 6 p.m. And that's also the day we're getting our caps and gowns, which is exciting. May 17th and 18th is the QAC Goes Purple escape room at the YMCA. And we're doing senior final exams on the same day you are. So the 21st, or yeah.
21st through 22nd.
Yeah, and then the 23rd is the makeup day. And then we have
graduation practice at May 27th and like a field day thing afterwards. And we graduate May 29th, 10 a.m. And if it rains, which hopefully it won't, because who wants to put that off? The rain day's May 30th.
So on behalf of the board, and they will probably have their own comments, we want to thank both of you for your time as student members of our board, and congratulations and best wishes going forward.
Thank all of you. Thank you all so much.
Dr. Salins.
So I want to give a shout out to Mr. Michael Page, who is our supervisor of science, in partnership with the University of Maryland Extension, specifically Jenny Rhodes, for her wonderful partnership with us to put on yet again another Ag Day opportunity for our students at the middle school level. It's an incredible opportunity for our students to learn the fields that they can go into as an ag student if they so choose that pathway. And they're just doing great things. So I just want to give a huge shout out. That was really fun this year to go to. And I do want to say thank you to our staff. It is staff appreciation, and we have great schools. We have great kids, and it's all because of their dedication. Everybody, every single person on our staff is dedicated to making sure that our students have the opportunities that make them be like these two wonderful young ladies who have served us so well this year. Thank you for that, and we'll see you at graduation.
Thank you.
Now the fun stuff. We ask all speakers to keep in mind the following guidelines. Speakers should sign the roster, including their telephone number and address. Comments should be limited to 3 minutes. Comments longer than 3 minutes should be submitted in writing. Statements to the board should relate to a matter of general policy over which this board has authority. Comments about the actions or statements of individual staff members are not appropriate for public comments and should be referred to the superintendent of schools or the board president. If you have a specific question, the board will make sure an appropriate staff member responds to your questions. The board respects your desire and right to convey your message freely, but asks as a courtesy to the board and our citizens that you show respect for all. First up, Marie Manas. Marcy. I'm sorry.
Quite all right. Hi, my name is Marcy Mamis, and I live in Chestertown, but I am a member of the Queen Anne's County Public Schools team, so I thought that afforded me the right to speak at a public comment at the board meeting. I wanted to come, President Bent, I'm so sorry, and Dr. Salins, and thank you personally for your time and dedication and your support of the Teacher of the Year program. Seeing you at the gala, although it was a night that was just a whirlwind for me, it meant a lot to see the board there and to see your support. I also want to thank you for your determination, your perseverance in trying to rectify and balance our budget while preserving those critical assets and critical needs of our classroom. We see the efforts that you are taking, and it is much appreciated. I also wanted to tell you that it is such an honor to the board members that are here and anyone who is part of the selection committee that may be watching. It is an honor, and I am so excited to be the representative for the county for the 25-26 school year. I am excited to champion all the things that we do in Queen Anne's County, all the opportunities, programs, and activities that we offer our students to the entire state. So thank you very much for this honor. I'm very excited to get started, and I just wanted to come and tell you that personally. The first board meeting was too close.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
And congratulations again.
Thank you.
Mr. Richard McNeil.
Mr. Bender, I'm going to need 10 seconds more. Good evening, Richard McNeil. And I want to start off by saying what a great show the art exhibits were. It started up the month of May and the end of April. Just phenomenal. And as I mentioned to Mr. Bell, that we need to start tracking the ones who have a program in the elementary as they go all the way through over the next years to see how the growth and so forth. But it's just wonderful to see that and the talent that's there. And I know how excited seniors are right now, and these last 14, 16 days can be really interesting for teachers and principals, so I want to do that. I was at a state level meeting yesterday, and I know I'm usually pretty upbeat and positive, but you know, there's some things going on educationally on a national level that I'm really concerned about, and our retirement group is also. And you know, after 44 years in the educational system, I've seen a lot of changes, but I think what you all are going to be facing over the next several years is going to be really traumatic. And I'm not a politician, so I'm not trying to say one way or the other on that. But, you know, when you see an uneven quality and delivery of public education across the United States, that's managed by our national level. It has nothing to do with curriculum, has nothing to do with the teaching per se. But on April 29th, if my information is correct, it was signed that the states are going to lose $7.9 billion in funding starting next year, starting now. You know, when the state of Maryland was to get 40% reimbursement for special ed and it's down to 11%, where's that money going to come from? The locals are going to be picking up a higher percentage of pension support. It's not going to affect me, but the people who are in the business. School lunch programs for those children who don't have the money at home to have that, and breakfast programs. Where's it going to come from? Now, I know you just finished the budget year and the county commissioners have really supported the schools this coming year. But you know, to me, not only us, but the people who are listening, if we don't speak up now to our legislators in Congress to do something to slow this process down, it's going to be too late, in my opinion. You know, it's just a matter of, can we stop this snowball going in the wrong direction? And I just am real concerned about the mental health grant that just got canceled and everything else. And like I said, I'm not in the system. I went through the system. 10 more seconds, I'll be done. But I appreciate you listening, and I'm going to leave with Dr. Kibler. This is our representatives from the state of Maryland. You may already have that. My encouragement to everybody would be to let your voice be known. It's not too late. It's not too late. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for
Thank you very much. Amanda D'Onofrio.
Evening. Thank you. Okay, so I wanted to start by discussing a little bit Maslow's before Bloom. I know some educators will consider this, some people might not know what it is, but it is the importance of addressing a student's basic needs before expecting them to engage in higher level learning. What that means is physical safety. Too many students in classes, and our classes are pretty full where my children attend, leads to more instances of bullying. It leads to more challenges in focusing students. It leads to more challenges in drills when the students have them and organizing a larger body of small bodies. Physiological needs, food, shelter, sleep, focus in heat and humidity. I know it's hard for me to focus when I'm hangry. I know it's hard for me to do that. It's hard for my children. And when I volunteered at the book fair last week, it was pretty stifling in the building. And I found that difficult for myself, and several other parents volunteering also commented on their discomfort physically in that.
which I know you can appreciate because this building has the makeshift air conditioning. So I know you understand that. Love and belonging. It is harder to build bonds with increased class sizes, lack of support, supporting children with different educational, emotional needs, and difficulty in classrooms that are overfilled with students, especially those who are easily distracted or struggle with overstimulating environment created when too many people are in a small space. Judy centers are great. There is one to promote school readiness in partnership with Graysonville, Churchill, and Sudlersville, but not at CES, Kent Island, or Bayside. CES, which has the highest enrollment. Kent Island and CES also have the highest rate of special education enrollment with 92 and 97 students respectively. And the solutions that I read through were to make CES pre-K to 1 and Kennard 2 to 4 for grade levels, I think to accommodate the new pre-K programs, which is great. But I also read that the building that we have building, once operational, the new central office building will provide an optimal environment for supporting the educational needs of Queen Anne County students and faculty. And I had asked how this building can accomplish that goal. As a parent with objectives and goals, I don't just want to see them, I want to see ones that are smart, specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-based. When I hear these things, like the objective to increase quality tutoring and address learning gaps despite being the basis for the educational foundation. Elementary school has no tutors, increased class sizes, an entire new platform of pre-K students, and they lack the support that they need in this transitional phase. Another objective I saw that I would like to see SMART goals is actively recruiting and retaining highly qualified, diverse staff.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Moving on to item 7. Before I go there, those are the only people that had signed up on the form. Is there anybody else? Not hearing it, we'll move on. Human Resources Report. Board, we got all of our information during closed session. Can I get a motion for approval?
I make a motion for the Queen Anne County Board of Education to approve the May 7th, 2025 Human Resources Report as presented.
I second that.
All in favor? Aye. Mr. Page.
Good evening, President Bent, members of the board, Dr. Salins, executive team. For the record, my name is Michael Page. I'm a curriculum supervisor. I oversee science, physical education, health, and environmental literacy. Today, I bring forward an action item that was in collaboration with Jolene Smith, the supervisor of special ed. The purpose of this item is to implement a unified education and leadership course. It's a 1-credit elective physical education course for students in grades 9 through 12. This new course, these new courses are for inclusion in the program of study beginning in the 25-26 school year. In 2022, the Maryland Department of Education published the Maryland Physical Education Framework, which is aligned with the national and state physical education standards. The national and state standards for physical education play a critical role in educating the whole child as part of a well-rounded education. Physical education is unique to the school curriculum as it is the only program that provides students with the opportunity to learn motor skills, developmental fitness, and gain an understanding of the importance of physical activity. And this course would focus on the level 2 high school physical education standards. The course description is the course is combines students with all abilities to participate in development appropriate activities, including lifetime activities, physical fitness, and sports. Students will work together to increase the competency and confidence in a variety of physical activities. And through ongoing leadership opportunities, participants of this course will be empowered to help create a more inclusive and accepting school environment for all students. Today, I ask that the superintendent recommend this to the board the approval of the new course, the Unified Physical Education and Leadership 1 through 4, beginning in the 2025-2026 school year.
I have a question. When it comes to the special ed population, how, when you're saying of all abilities, how in grade 9 through 12, when you say the course, if is it all inclusive for all students? So how will they be handling, will there be someone, how will they be designing or helping to create content for them that's appropriate for their ability?
So all of our classes are inclusionary to begin with. This is kind of a combination of both the physical education component as well as the leadership component. So it's almost hitting kind of that academic piece, the CTE piece, as well as that inclusion piece. So we're kind of going to pair some of our students with significant cognitive or physical disabilities, and even those with mild and moderate disabilities in with our kind of general education students. And they work together to form partnerships, and our general education students are learning leadership skills, and in some respects it's kind of their gateway to becoming a special educator. It's where they're going to learn what I love, which is really the power and the excitement and just the passion behind working with students of all abilities.
Love it.
This is kind of like our unified arts program that we already have for for.
It is similar. So this one does have more of that leadership component, and I can let you speak to that if you like.
Yeah, so the course is modeled after the Special Olympics framework. So it has leadership components as mentioned. It has the sports, it has the activities. It does lend itself to our unified sports teams that we have at the high school, both high schools. It also lends ourselves to the buddy system that we have at the high schools. So it is a way of continuing to build that structure in our schools to support all students.
We actually had the opportunity to go over to Anne Arundel County. We went to Crofton High School and observed their unified PE class in action. And man, to say it was moving was yes. An understatement. It was really great to see, you know, both kind of sides of the fence really enjoying PE class together, and they were doing the same activities at the same level. So it was just really, it was empowering.
I heard great feedback from the CAC and the SSIC when Dr. Schreckengoss brought it up. Dr. Kibler, would we be able to get notes from the two meetings just to have for board meetings or to relay to board so we could hear the great feedback from the teachers and the parents?
Of course, and we do post the minutes online or on our webpage, but we can have, when they always run them by me before they get posted, so I review them, but we can send them to you all as well at the same time as they get posted, if that's all right.
Yeah, that's fine.
Sure.
So if someone was to go look for the minutes for the two meetings, where would they find them at?
If you go to the homepage of the website, under About, there's a section for Citizens Advisory Council, and the meetings should be listed there with the agendas and the minutes.
Thank you.
Yep.
Thank you both.
Thank you.
Make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to approve the new courses, Unified Physical Education and Leadership 1 through 4 for the 2025-2026 school year, no fiscal impact.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Item number 703.
Sorry.
Motion?
Yep. Well, we have to do a motion first.
I would like to make a motion for the Queen Anne's County Board of Education to uphold the ethics resolution, including their findings and recommendation.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Queen Anne's County Board of Education resolution to adopt ethics panel opinion and recommendation. Whereas the Queen Anne's County Board of Education, the board maintains Code of Ethics and Conflict and Interest Policy 104 and Code of Ethics and Conflict of Interest Regulation 104.1 in accordance with the Maryland Public Ethics Law, CMD Code N Gen Prov 5-101, Comar 19 alpha.01.01.00. Whereas pursuant to Regulation 104.1, the Ethics Panel of the Board is also authorized to review complaints alleging violations of the Board of Ethics Policy 104. Whereas the Board of Ethics Panel considered a complaint submitted by Timothy Forloin, an employee of Duron, a furniture vendor, regarding the board office furniture procurement conducted at its February 5th, 2025 meeting and alleging violations of the ethics policy by the superintendent, Dr. Patricia Salines. Whereas the board's ethic panel completed an investigation of the complaint and conducted a full evidentiary hearing where all parties had a full opportunity to be heard. Whereas the board's ethics panel issued findings of fact and conclusions of a law and recommendations, a copy of which is attached hereto incorporated by reference herein. Now, therefore, be it resolved that A, the board accepts the findings of fact and conclusions of the law reached by the ethics panel, B, the board accepts the recommendations of the ethics panel, and C, the board finds no basis to alter its February 5th, 2025 decision with respect to the contract at issue, dated May 7th, 2025.
Next item. We are moving into the information item section. 9.1, middle school ELA MOI. Ms. Passon.
How do I present this again? I'm sorry. But it's in a PDF, I don't know. I'm sorry, Matt. Oh, there we go. Okay. Good evening, President Bent, members of the board, Dr. Salins, and members of the executive team. My name is Bridget Passon. I am the English Language Arts Supervisor for grades 3 through 12. I'm coming to you tonight per the Materials of Instruction Policy 620. I'd like to show you the teacher-selected middle school English Language Arts series and request that it be available to the community for a 30-day review period. The timeline for this pilot actually started about a year ago. The women who were serving as middle school reading specialists did research looking at what different districts were using across the state, going over Ed Report's findings, and determining 3 products that they thought would be really good for our schools and our students. Last June, I sent that list of 3 out to all of our middle school teachers and special educators and asked if there were any objections or if they had heard of a vendor or company that they also wanted me to bring in. No responses one way or the other. So we moved forward with scheduling the 3 vendors to present at their district PD day, Professional Development Day. So all of the ELA teachers and about half of our special educators attended 1-hour presentations from each vendor. I then, at the end of that meeting, I asked them to vote on which ones they thought should move forward for piloting. I was expecting 2 to emerge. It was a 3-way tie, which means we had to go forward with piloting all 3. No problem, we've done it before, but this gave each product about 30 days. So we piloted Common Lit from September 23rd to November 28th. My Perspectives, which is a Savas product, from November till early February, and then Into Literature from February 10th to April 1st. And then on the 9th, April 9th, I brought them together for their vote. They had a big task in front of them. We want to do everything to be aligned to the Maryland State Department of Education expectations, which require that materials we adopt be highly qualified instructional materials, HQIM. So there is a framework for that. The framework had yet to be adopted into a rubric, so we turned it into our own rubric, putting about 4 points to each of the 39 criteria. That came out to be 156 points total in these 4 areas, looking at grade level and standards aligned, looking at the instructional design, looking at the supports it had for our teachers when they were planning, and how well it affirmed our students. So these were the 3 products that we piloted: Common Lit, Into Literature, and My Perspectives, and their average scores, with Into Literature from a quantitative standpoint, emerging as the winner with averaging 129 points. Brought the teachers together for the vote. All 14 of them voted, with a little more than half of them voting for interliterature by HMH. I also asked them for some qualitative feedback, which this feedback is always really powerful. So I just pulled out a few of their responses, but as teachers and in using the products for 30 instructional days, they found them user-friendly and high interest. Interliterature HMH has an added writing program that the other two products did not. This program makes the writing process much more accessible and scaffolded for our kids, but also can enrich or enhance the writing process for our advanced learners. And another teacher commented that it was easy to navigate. They loved the reading programs and that the assessments were just right. They were challenging, but they didn't frustrate our kids, which is really important when you're giving an assessment. The cost for a 6-year contract is $324,229.45. So that means for 6 years, we would get the teacher and the student digital licenses and the student consumables. I think, and I know there's a lot of math people in the room, that works out to about $55,000 a year. Great. Keeping in mind that right now, when we're on a one-to-one, we're on a year-to-year, because our prior contract ran out shortly after COVID, I believe. Right now, middle school costs are more than double that. There, to run our Tier 1 instruction is costing $120,000. So it's important that we enter into a multiple year contract. Maybe you're wondering why 6 years? It takes 3 to 5 years to be really comfortable with the program, the flow of it, the content of it, and what works for your kids. So at a minimum, I would recommend a 5-year contract. I'm asking for 6 because we have a lot of our contents are in line for new textbook series. This middle school series happens to be 10 years old. And where I am in the lineup for middle school, again, is probably 6 years or greater. So the most cost-effective contract from where I sit, and again, I know there's much more math-minded people here, but the 6-year contract makes the most sense for our teachers in learning it, implementing it, and doing the best for our kids, and from a fiscal perspective as well, as we settle into some real fiscal forecasting. To support our teachers, 14 of them piloted. There's about 20 more that we need to get professional development to, and we really need to dig into the overall program. So that's a one-time full-day cost of close to $4,000. Any questions on any of that before I get into the next steps of this adopting materials process?
What does the professional development for the teachers look like with onboarding them and getting them used to the curriculum and new material?
So I wish I could bring up the platform, because there's about 20 different buttons and resources that they can click into for support with planning. So it starts there. It starts with an overview of the program and then showing them all the resources that are involved. It's resource rich. Teachers won't use 20 different buttons every day, but that gives them the ability to customize and personalize instruction for their kids. So there's a lot to walk them through. Typically, they are only about 3 hours. Because of this writable program, which is a program that only HMH offers, that's a whole other 3 hours of professional development to walk them through the writing pieces for each of the, I believe it's 6 units. They'll follow up with some informal coaching, but because we can't get to our teachers that often where we can bring them all together, whole group, and get them trained, we can't push into their buildings. That costs even more money. This 6 hours, it gets the trainer here, because I personally, and you might tell me, Bridget, just do it virtually, but I personally think a massive training like this, it's much better when it's face-to-face and you have that trainer right there with you. So there's travel costs and all that kind of get built in there.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Okay, so here's the next steps for this read. So I have an access code for all of you, for parents. That will be accessible via the QACPS ELA homepage tomorrow with the login information, and you can see both the student and the teacher side. I'm also going to ask our middle school principals to send it out in their upcoming newsletters so that it's even more accessible and visible to parents. I'll put the Interlit materials in the front offices or security vestibules of all the middle schools and the central office. I have the 6th through 8th grade teacher text and student consumable, student workbook over there if you want to look at it before you head out. In the interest of what's happening across the country, I did grab the recommended long reads. That's a book list. There's about 5 or 6 books per unit that HMH recommends, hey, if you have these in your book room, pair these books with this unit, because we want to offer our kids a variety of text, including their length. So there's this unwritten rule that automatically long reads are automatically accepted, but we want to be completely transparent and show the list that's out there of books. So I put that on board docs, and I'm also going to put that on our ELA homepage with my email address. So any comments that come to you as board members or to me as the ELA supervisor, when I come back on June 4th, we'll talk about, discuss before I ask you to vote. That's assuming you let me send this out for a 30-day review. Do I have to ask for a vote on that?
Just for a review, it's fine.
Okay.
It's next time.
Okay.
And I just want to thank Ms. Passon and the teachers that piloted. Piloting's not easy on top of the other day-to-day to learn something new. A lot goes into it. And I just want to commend Ms. Passon as well. We've heard you board members and how you've asked for what are the teachers saying. So that's why you'll notice she put that into the slides, just asking about the CAC notes and things. So that's something we're taking back to heart as a CNI team, just to make sure we present that voice to you as well. So thank you for that.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Have a good night.
Good night. Mr. Bell.
Good evening, President Bent, Dr. Salins, board members, executive team. For the record, I'm Michael Bell, Supervisor of Visual and Performing Arts, School Library Media, Non-Publics, Title IV Part A, and MSD Fine Arts Grants. This evening, I'm here for the second read of Policy 623, Media Materials Selection. Since the first read, there have been no public comments. Are there any questions?
I don't have any.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
This isn't on this policy. We have a long list of policies. I just wanted to say, Ms. Capes, you asked last time if we could put this more, the public comment more public on the website. So what we did, our webmaster, on the main web page under QACPS updates, there's a banner that rotates with important things that are going on right now, and the proposed policy link and revision is on there now.
Okay.
So just another way. So it's in the board report that goes out. If they navigate to the policy page on their own, or if they're just looking at the main page of the website. So it all takes you to the same spot, but multiple ways to get there to try to get the word out like you asked.
Okay. Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Mr. Evans.
Good evening, President Bent, Dr. Salins, members of the board, executive team. For the record, my name's Matt Evans, Supervisor of Student Services. Before you tonight are 5 policies for a first read. The first policy is administration of medication to students. This was a complete rewrite of a 1993 policy, so it's been some time since it's been updated. It was completed by our school health coordinator. Happy to answer any questions. The next policy is the education of homeless students. This is also a complete rewrite of a 2010 policy and complies with updates to the McKinney-Vento Homeless Assistance Act. And I did have it reviewed by the MSDE Homeless Education State Coordinator. The third policy is home and hospital teaching. This was updated. New additions are in red, deletions are in strike through, and it was updated from a 2011 policy. No questions? The next policy is a new policy, student registered sex offenders entry on school property. This follows the MSD model policy and includes recent updates that were made in April 2024 that prohibits juveniles that are on the sex offender registry from attending public or non-public elementary or secondary schools in person.
How does one find out that information so you're aware?
So there is that through certainly our contacts with the sheriff's office. We're supposed to be notified immediately once that happens, but that's a good question, and we would, in fact, and I believe, well, the superintendent should be notified, and if the student is coming to us from another school system, that superintendent's required to notify our superintendent.
And what happens if for some reason nobody is notified and then they find out after the fact? What is the student removed from the grounds? How does that?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, so if for some reason we were not notified and the student were to be enrolled and come onto school grounds, and once we were aware, yes, that student would, yes, be removed.
I had some questions about Part C, the planning for transition. I just noticed that it's all about the student and them coming back in. I don't see anything about telling the teachers and the administrators, and so I just wonder. I feel like people would want to know.
So yes, and certainly we would, important staff that needed to know absolutely would know, and that's a very sensitive transition. So it would take some time, and certainly, the classroom that the student's going into, that teacher would know.
Okay.
Certainly, as per FERPA, we couldn't disclose things.
Right, but
to
yeah,
the- But yes,
I think there's a big case in Baltimore right now where the judge let somebody back into the school. So anyway, just might want to follow that and see.
yeah, it was a recent update in 2024
Yeah.
because that was not in the original law where they were not allowed to be on school property, and that recently changed. The last policy is also a new policy, student telehealth. This complies with the mandate established under the Maryland Education Article 4-143 enacted through House Bill 522 during last year's legislative session. Are there any questions regarding this policy? Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
All right, you're up.
Kick that board up. That's all it does.
What's going on?
One of these times. I got it, I'm good. Thanks. Sorry.
It's not your first rodeo.
I wanted to see you get up. Good evening, President Bent, Vice President Capes, board members, executive team, gosh, I'm having a hard time tonight. Superintendent Salins. For the record, my name is Darryl Barraclough, Supervisor of Facilities and Design. Come before you this evening to present for information the 2025 Educational Facilities Master Plan. The purpose of the Educational Facilities Master Plan is to provide a plan that includes the educational goals, standards, and guidelines, community analysis, concluding that the plan conforms with the adopted county and municipal comprehensive plan and growth management strategies. It also provides an inventory and evaluation of existing school buildings, current and projected enrollment data, analysis of future school facility needs, and various school policies relating to school capacity, student population, and other administrative matters. The Educational Facilities Master Plan is required by COMAR, Subtitle 39, It's the Interagency Commission for School Construction, Chapter 14.39.02. The Educational Facility Master Plan must be approved by the board annually and submitted to the IAC. So the Educational Facilities Master Plan is the first step of the annual capital improvement plan. So this provides the long-range plan with yearly updates, reviews the enrollment projections, prioritizes the facility needs, outlines the future projects, and becomes the first stepping stone of the capital improvement plan, which will come before you early in the fall of this year. There are several components of the Educational Facilities Master Plan. You'll see them in the blue hexagons around the EFMP in the center. Each of those categories is listed as a tab within the document that everyone has received for review. So again, going back to the two components that drive projects for the school system, the EFMP that we have before you this evening, and the CIP. So the Educational Facilities Master Plan requires submission to the state by the 1st of July. So our intention is to come before you this evening with this document for information. It'll be posted on our website for 30 days for public comment. I'll come back before the board seeking board approval next month at the second meeting, so we'll ensure that we have a full 30 days for the public to review. And once it's approved, then we'll have the document ready to send to the state. So a few things that I wanted to point out. So on page, a couple of the things here that I wanted to discuss some of the major changes to the document. So within the staffing requirements, you'll see a lot of input was generated this year versus prior years under maintenance and custodial. For the purposes of the document, everything that's been added is in blue underlined text. Deletions have been red struck through. What we're showing here is for maintenance and custodial staff, looking at how the state not dictates, but recommends staffing for the amount of square footage for our school buildings. We are currently understaffed in both custodial and the maintenance department. And if you go to the next slide or the next page, you'll see that from a maintenance standpoint, we should have 21 full-time equivalent employees, and we have 11, so we've got a shortage of 10. From a custodial standpoint, again, we have 82 FTE, and we have a shortage of about 19.5 there. So we are understaffed in those two departments, and it does lead to longer lead times on getting work orders completed and those sorts of things. So I just wanted to make sure that was pointed out. Moving on through some of the other parts of the document that I wanted to highlight. Page 95 of the document. This is past projection results. I wanted to highlight the last 2 years of student projections that were made across the school system. So for the 22-23 year, we were only off by 37 students on our projection. So that's a net difference of less than half a percentage point. For the 23-24 projection year, which would have projected this year's enrollment, we actually hit the number right on with 7,478. So I'm
Good job.
yeah. Thank you. So moving on, one of the points that has always kind of been a pretty big discussion point is how enrollment projections are completed regarding new subdivisions and how that's tracked in enrollment projections. So what I've incorporated into the EFMP this year is by election district, we are tracking all of the major subdivisions that are planned within each of those election districts. And for example, you'll see the Lowry Dream Farm that's located in Chester. This is 82 townhouses that are projected to be done. It also goes into what that net yield would be in each of the schools that serve that area, from Kent Island Elementary School, Bayside Elementary School, Stevensville Middle School, and then Kent Island High School. So with those increases, looking at what we've seen reviewing county approval processes and such, this development appears that it does have the traction to move forward. So we are including projections in our outlying school years for the 26-27 and 27-28 school years. So we did plug those numbers into the projections if you look at some of those outlying years. Some of the development that you might have heard of or have seen or so forth. For example, right as soon as you come across the bridge, they have Bay Bridge Marina that is developing 28 duplex units. This development does look like it is gaining traction and will be moving forward. However, given kind of the nature of these units, it appears that these are going to be pretty high-end, over $1 million townhome units. So we are not anticipating that school-age children are going to be moving in with parents in this type of development. So we have not included those numbers. But even if you look at what that impact would be, it would only yield a net 7 students across the entire district for that one development. Moving on, we have some other developments. Some of these appear to have been stalled. This one's been in the works since 2021 and hasn't had a whole lot of movement. So you'll notice as you go through and read about the developments, you'll pick up on whether or not they've been included and the reasons why in the information here, why they have not been included or why they have been included. And some of them are pretty substantial in their impact. For example, the Aspire Farms, which is right in Graysonville, that has the potential impact of 146 students. So those students have been included in the projections because, again, that does look like it is going to move forward. So moving on to another change, or addition, I should say, not change, is in the Educational Facilities Master Plan. Now we have school facility information, and this is a simple one-page document that provides some of the basic information about the school. Square footage, the number of floors, what the program is, number of teaching stations, the basic information about the structure, the HVAC system, sprinkler system, those sorts of things. One thing that you will note in your document that is going to be different from any of the documents that are provided to the public and the public online is, like you see on the screen right now, your document has the floor plan of the school in it. That will also be included in the EFMP that gets sent up to the state. That is a requirement of the state, so they will receive that in their EFMP, but we do not publish school floor plans for circulation to the public. So the public copy will just have a blank page that says the floor plan has been omitted from the public copy. So with that, any questions?
Yes.
Okay.
I didn't see District 1 included in the estimations. You have 3, 4, and what's District 5? Only 4.
Yeah, there's an
There's only
at-large
4
one.
districts.
This I'd have to go back and look at that because it's very confusing to, I'll be honest, it's very confusing to me as well, because there's election districts and then there are other districts as well. And this is how the Planning Commission breaks their districts up. So I'll get back to you on that question.
That's fine, but make sure you consider election District 1, that would be mine. And I know about all the brand new houses that are going into at least 2 subdivisions over there. And they will affect Churchill, Sudlersville Middle, Sudlersville Elementary, possibly. So I'd like to make sure that we account for those areas also.
And I do believe that's identified within the counties, the way that they do it from the way that they break the districts up when they do their plan review. That's election District 5 because that includes Fox Farms, and Fox Farms is on page 125. That's right in Sudlersville.
Okay,
So that's in the document now.
gotcha.
So
Is it, when you're using the word election district, is it actually the census tract for the district?
well, that's what I want to go back and double check. I
think
need
it's
to go
the
back and
census
confirm
number
that because
within
it
the
is.
district, not the way we,
Where we mapped it out.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because I know the last one we had that you presented to us, it did have Sudlersville included in there, because I know we were talking about like the 2 developments by the middle school that were getting built and then kind of got put on hold.
And then there's 2 developments that have been around for a while that just picked up, and one is about to be finished, and the
Yeah.
other one is still filling in.
And I'm probably going to have a hard time finding it real
It's okay.
quickly. But there are new subdivision information, which is what I received from county planning. So for example, it's going to be a little wonky here because just the way the page layout is.
It's okay.
But this does provide you with information from 2003 all the way through 2024 on the number of subdivisions or the number of lots that have been built out in each subdivision. So that is being tracked and being followed in the document, so.
Okay.
It does have on 129, first election district for under description and trends by district. It does, that's listed,
Page 129.
yeah, but it doesn't, I don't think it lists the, like,
Go back and
developments or
look again.
anything. It's just like the census data.
Right. I'll go back and look again.
I'll go back and double check it as well.
I just want to make sure we don't miss anything because those schools will need support. So,
Any other questions?
Do not.
huh? What did
Oh,
you
I said
say?
I do not.
Oh, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
At this time, we're asking, does anybody else have public comment?
I just had a question.
You need
You have to come up to the microphone.
Say your name and where you're from, please.
She can, yeah.
Hi, Amanda D'Onofrio again, Centerville. I just had a question because I generally try to read through things before I come here because I just learn better if I read it. But there was an item added to the agenda with the ethics discussion, and it was read through kind of quickly for me. So I wanted to know, is that going to go up on the website so that we can then take the time to read it? Because I actually would like to read it in a way that I understand it. And it just, for me, flew by so quickly that I didn't really grasp the entirety of what the issue was and what the resolution was. And I wanted to see more clarity on that.
It will be posted.
That we posted along with the findings.
Thank you.
At this time, we talk about future meetings. Our next meeting will be June 4th at 6 p.m. And if there are no other,
I have a question. When do we,
close.
since we're coming to the end of the board meeting schedule, June, do we vote on the next set of dates?
I'll have a proposed
Okay.
schedule for the next meeting.
All right, thank you.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Nope.
Going once? We're done. Thank you very much for.
I make a motion.
I was like,
Make a motion
I'm
for the
this
Queen Anne's
close.
County Board of Education to adjourn the May 7th, 2025 open session at 7:41 PM.
I second that.
All in favor? Aye.